Hey folks, it's Matthew here again, and we are set now for the next case. Case 16, Buzzkill.
We learn by example. We learn by observing and doing. We learn through the words and thoughts. Through the experience of others.
Well, Matthew, our time in the green sure has been enlightening so far. I honestly don't know whether to admire the local sense of innovation or shake my head at the ridiculousness of some of it. Just this morning, I ordered a coffee and was given the espresso, water, and milk in separate cups. Apparently it was a deconstructed latte. I'm afraid we got more pressing matters than bad coffee, Gloria. Yes, of course, I'm sorry. How is Zoe? Have you found anything out about why she remembers Marconi but nothing else? No, and nor do we have any more leads about what Dreamlife's up to with that satellite they've got him guarding in the forest either. Ah, yes, I heard about that. Dreamlife's sure keeping a tight lock on this. I wonder what's so special about that satellite of theirs. Me too. But anyway, I was actually coming to tell you that you've got a case. A dead body's been found at a community beehive. Archibald Ashworth called it in. Do you remember him, Matthew? He's that crazy old coot obsessed with bees. We met him during your first stay here. Then I guess this investigation is going to bring back memories, Matthew. There's no time to waste. Let's head over to that community beehive.
Sunday, quickly shifting into some clear conditions through the end of the weekend into the beginning of Monday. Next week, let's take a closer look at that satellite area. Now, we're going to see the green, and then some of the lighter moisture, the yellow, leading into some heavier showers right now, moving over Kauai, and then again,
my local news is on right now, but please disregard that.
Extending over to Maui County Friday into Saturday. We'll take a to talk about there for tomorrow. 2-4 for the north and town shores, declining swell out there, and then we do have another swell, out of season north swell for Sunday and Saturday. 3 for
oh my gosh.
At your extended weather forecast, into Saturday, Sunday.
Boy, that's pretty gruesome.
Anyway, is it college kids playing a prank or part of a movie scene?
Coming up after the break, Canadian no engine, no
Senior Trooper Matthew, thank goodness you're here. I'm the one who called you. I need you to take care of that corpse at once. My poor bees were being crushed to death underneath Beckett's body. I need to inspect the damage immediately. Mr. Ashworth, a man is dead. That's our priority, not your bees. Now you say you knew the victim? Yes. His name was Beckett Blanton. He was an entrepreneur or some newfangled thing like that. Now can I please check on my bees? Not just yet, Mr. Ashworth. Please step to one side while Senior Trooper Matthew examines the crime scene. We'll be with you shortly. Matthew, this man has more bee stings than I can count. But how the heck did he end up falling onto that beehive? You're right. The damage to that beehive is too extensive for Beckett to have simply fallen on it. He must have been pushed, and with quite some force. We've got another murder on our hands, Matthew. And as always, you're ahead of the curve. Let's put that torn paper you found back together before we speak to Mr. Ashworth.
My name is Kevin. I was born and raised here in Hawaii. A lot of my business came from the connections I've made through the years.
And I'm going to start the autopsy right now. But the thing, I can start this early, around 10 o'clock at night where I live, but I need to get the start, so sit tight, everybody. And I have returned with 13 stars. So I'm going to go ahead and talk to Archibald Ashworth first. Senior Trooper Matthew, it breaks my heart to think of all those bees perishing. What a needless loss of life. Mr. Blanton's demise is sad too, of course, but bees, what incredible creatures. Did you know that 1 in 3 bites of the food that we eat is derived from plants pollinated by bees, young lady? I did not. And that's not all. And that's not all they're good for. No, their honey has a multitude of uses. For example, I use it to condition my leather bicycle saddle, but you can even put it in skincare. That's what that Beckett chap did. He owned a company which makes skincare products using honey. Beckett's bumblebees, he called it. I didn't have the heart to tell the fool that bumblebees don't produce honey. So Beckett came here to buy the honey that you collect? Yes, and he used to visit the co-working cafe downstairs too. People take their laptops there to work over coffee and snacks. I don't see the appeal, but the young'uns seem to love it.
You see the officiating crew?
I see. Thank you for your time, Mr. Ashworth. We'll be sure to head downstairs and check this co-working cafe out.
The appropriate description I think clearly off of Keon Alexander, I think so. It shouldn't take very long for the officials to return over the hut. But the team in white will retain possession.
First of all,
Fantastic start. 9-0 lead. Over 3 minutes into the game. Then all of a sudden they went cold. In fact, closed the first half without a field goal for over 6 minutes. Little did they know that they would double. It seemed like they doubled it in the second half. Yeah. That's just unbelievable. So you're talking about roughly 18, 19 minutes. That they already went cold in this game without a field goal. Now, again, we reiterate, at the end of the first half and throughout much of this second half,
there we go. Beckett, we need to talk. Meet me by the beehives at midday. This paper says, Beckett, we need to talk. Meet me by the beehives at midday. Matthew, this is a message to our victim. And whoever it was told him to meet him here. And whoever it was told him to meet them here, right where he was murdered. There's no question about it. This came from our killer. There's nothing to indicate their identity, though. Let's hope Gabriel can make something of this note.
When they needed it most, particularly Drew Bugs, Rob Steptoe. We got another tough game from Mike Thomas, 14 points, 10 rebounds for a double-double. 18 turnovers. Frankie allowing all the points after those turnovers. Crowd responded to the Green missing the second free throw because I think there's a promotion in the house that at 72 points, the Rainbow Warriors score 72 points. There's free tacos. That's why you jumped today? Is that why you jumped? I mean, you don't want free tacos? Oh my gosh.
Okay.
Free guy.
Here we go.
It tastes much better. Well, what I was thinking, the Pointless Prairie juice. There it is, right there. There it is. Come on, players. Have faith.
Backpack. Oh, the cat's a clue.
Just to get you caught up with that situation. Gary Blackson goes to the bench with 27 points and 7 rebounds. He's the player. He's a player. Drew Bugs, who is on his career high.
Matthew, I can understand why the victim came here to work. It's way nicer than our office. Oh, hello there, kitty. Who do you belong to? Good point, Matthew. He's got a collar on, but the owner's name is faded. Let's see if we can retrieve it. And that backpack has Beckett's name on it. Well spotted. We should crack that lock and have a look inside.
The 6th game is actually just one off of his career high. So you got that performance offensively, that level of
Okay.
contribution from your 2 point guards on the floor who played
So I can say the
alongside each other
conspiracy,
for the majority of this game. Does that,
phase
in your
16.
opinion,
And we have some
and argues the
And we still have the stars, so might as well use them.
calls in this ball game. I mean, everybody's gonna argue calls. There's also 5 seconds left in the game. I mean, that is the difference right there. But Mike had to start the ball game, rebound.
Theo Zane. So this cat belongs to a Mr. Theo Zane. I bet this Mr. Zane is worried about his furry feline, Matthew. Let's return the cat to him. With any luck, he might also have known our victim.
Minutes of this game, and yet they're able to pull out the 72-60 win over Prairie View A&M, and they improve to 21-0 all time against teams from the SWAT. And that's why they will particularly try and bring in SWAT teams.
Welcome to the Hustle and Guzzle Co-working Cafe, where your ideas are powered by unlimited free coffee. We actually just wanted to return your cat, Mr. Zane. It was roaming around. Ah, Bartholomew and I run this place together. Or rather, I do the work and he lounges around like he owns the joint.
What do you tell your team?
You're the owner of the cafe? Then you must have met a Mr. Beckett Blanton. Oh, Beckett's in here all the time. You don't get to have a mega successful startup like his without putting in the hours, Senior Trooper Matthew. I'm afraid he won't be putting any more hours in. Beckett's been murdered. Beckett's been murdered? Man, that sucks. I wish I could help with your investigation, Senior Trooper Matthew, but I had no idea Beckett was in any kind of trouble. Guess you never really know your customers, huh?
The defenders of truth.
My sister's on Bob Mayer. I know she's in.
Don't miss Daryl and Daryl.
Okay, now the backpack.
Please stick with your direction. Daryl and Daryl in the key of Mary. Sunday at 7 on Hallmark Movies and Mysteries.
It may not be the first present you picked up for Mother's Day, but you know, give her the discovery of effortlessly smooth feet. The Penny Perfect electronic foot file from Osmo. Love your feet.
63993. Okay.
Hi, I'm Annette, and I'm an actress. And let me tell you something, under eye bags and wrinkles are so frustrating, they're so hard to hide, so hard to get rid of. I came across Plexaderm, and I'm so excited. And all he's doing is making a small amount, it's so powerful, that's all it takes.
Now that you've got Beckett's backpack open, let's take a quick look inside.
See this product that I thought, wait a minute, I've used a lot of products that I have a ton of money and none of it worked. And what I love about Plexaderm is you don't have to worry about the injections, the expensive plastic surgeon, because it's something you can do at the convenience of your own home. It's free, topical, literally creates an invisible layer that tightens the skin, smooths it out, all you do is just rub it up.
Skincare pot. Matthew, this pot of face cream you found in the victim's backpack must be one of his products. And look, there's a message on it. It says, to Mom, because you need it. Dang, talk about snarky. Matthew, I guess it's time for my least favorite part of the job. We need to inform Beckett's mother of his death.
I'm telling you, it really works.
Carol Blanton.
I was skeptical, yes, I admit it, and we did it to my dad, one eye so that we could compare 4 minutes, 34 seconds. The appearance of his under eye bag was completely
Mrs. Blanton, I'm afraid we have the sad duty of informing you that your son has been murdered. Surely you must be mistaken. Are you sure it's him? I'm afraid there's no mistake, but we're doing all we can to solve his murder. Can you think of anybody who might have wanted to harm Beckett? No, everybody loves Beckett, though of course nobody loves him more than me. I couldn't have been prouder of my son, Senior Trooper Matthew. I know he had a cheeky side, but I can't imagine it would have gotten him into real trouble. At least he'll live on through his wonderful company. He achieved so much in his short life. Please, Senior Trooper Matthew, promise me you'll catch whoever did this to my boy. We sure will. And I'll see you guys when these two are done. Alright folks, we have returned. I'm going to get the results of the angry message first. Matthew, have you heard of mindfulness? It's all about being in the present moment rather than dwelling on the past or living for the future. It can improve your mental well-being. There are lots of different ways to achieve this. Meditation, yoga, arts and crafts like coloring. Gabriel, what are you getting at? That I need to be more zen? Oh no, you misunderstand me, Gloria. You see, the note you sent me was written with colored pencils. So someone lured Beckett to his death with a note written in colored pencil, huh? That's a new one. Indeed, the use of colored pencils, given that the author was clearly an adult, got me thinking. And I realized that the texture of the pencils was familiar. They're sold exclusively as part of a set with the Color Your Mind coloring book. I used to prescribe Color Your Mind to my patients who suffered with stress, and your killer must enjoy relaxing with the coloring book too. So our killer owns a copy of the Color Your Mind coloring book. They'll sure need it once they're behind bars, Matthew.
Maya Stenberg lives in Lilani Estate. She and her family packed up.
You know, Matthew, your victim's name is weirdly familiar somehow, but I can't place where I know it from. Never mind. No doubt it'll come back to me later. Okay. So in the meantime, did you find anything on the body? Well, first of all, I can tell you that bees were definitely your murder weapon. On average, an adult with no specific allergies can tolerate around 1,000 bee stings, but your victim suffered closer to 3,000. That's enough bee venom to fell a horse. But while the stings are certainly the cause of death, the bruising on his face is consistent with being hit by a wooden object. And that's not all. During the struggle, your killer clearly grabbed the victim's clothes because he left traces of their kombucha on them. What now, Martine? Kombucha. It's a type of fermented tea claimed to have health benefits. But there was none in your victim's stomach, so it must have come from your killer. So our killer drinks kombucha. Well, Matthew, I can promise that prison won't be their cup of tea. Matthew, let's go over what we've learned so far. Young entrepreneur Beckett Blanton died after somebody pushed him straight into a hive full of bees. Archibald Ashworth reported the murder, but he was more concerned about the fate of his bees than of Beckett, though that seems par for the course with him. While Beckett's mother was a picture of devastation, she only had words of praise for her son, as did the co-working cafe owner Theo Zane. If we're going to solve this murder, we need to dig deeper into the victim's business. You're right, Matthew. Then I might have just the lead you need, Matthew. Remember how I told you the victim's name sounded familiar? Well, I finally placed it. And I know exactly where you should go next. Oh, nice job, Martine. We'll see you guys for chapter. And it's now time to begin chapter 2 of Buzzkill.
Identified today as 52-year-old Lyle Guy Healy of Waikoloa. He worked for a Hawaiian Electric Company for 10 years and was replacing a pole with a boom on his truck. But it collapsed and dropped the pole on him.
I attended one of Beckett's do-it-yourself skincare sessions, where he taught people how to make their own products. He held them twice a week at his workshop. I can take you there. Who knows who Beckett might have crossed paths with at his workshop, Matthew? Let's check it out at once.
The knife went in 4 inches deep, it perforated. In other words, it cut into her heart.
I cannot say much more except that I'm sorry, I'm very sorry. I like to tell you too. Thank you.
10-year sentences, one for manslaughter, another for assault.
26-year-old Lucas Ryan Rivera was sentenced to 10 years in prison in Hilo today. Hawaii Tribune Herald reports the Puna man went on a crime spree last year. There were auto thefts, he ran police cars, there was an armed robbery, and abuse of a stolen car. Under the terms of his plea agreement, he has to serve a mandatory 3 years plus pay back $700 in restitution.
25-year-old Edry Arreola pleaded not guilty to attempted murder and firearms violations in court today. He's accused of shooting 19-year-old Jared Farrell multiple times with a semi-automatic weapon on April 18th along Kalihi Street. An off-duty police officer was the first to respond. Farrell was last listed in serious condition. Arreola was barely saved from living waters.
There we are.
Prosecutors said along to the 2018
Framed
legislative
testimonial.
session today. The House and Senate came together from this final day of work at the state capitol singing Hawaii Aloha as is the custom. Among the most significant bills passed, $570 million
10,000 more.
for housing, $100 million for flood relief on Kauai, and Our Care, Our Choice.
So this is where the victim held his DIY skincare workshops, Matthew. What a cute little place. And it looks like he had at least one happy customer. Look at this testimonial. Now that I've discovered Beckett's Bumblebees, I'll never go back to using normal products. And this woman even called the victim adorable. It sounds like she knew Beckett well. Maybe we could find her in our database, Matthew. As for the victim's computer, if you can crack his password, it might provide us with a wealth of new info.
Solutions on enforcement and taxing of Airbnbs.
Last year's deadly fire in Marco Polo influenced a new law in Honolulu. Buildings now require safety evaluations, and as Island News reported, they'll be another option are fire sprinklers.
A60, N9H, 7ME. Oh, and I just hit the 9 in time. Matthew, you've cracked the password on Beckett's computer. If there's anything of use on here, Kathy will be the one to find it.
Bill 69 into law today designed to prevent another deadly fire.
Oh, 6 hours only. Okay, I thought it was going to be 12. Oh, then I probably should have done this a lot sooner. Is this going to be 12 hours or? Here we are. That's 1, 2, 3, one more. Missed out on the 9, but hey, Daisy Woods. Haven't we done? No, I don't think so. The author of this glowing testimonial about Beckett's Bumblebees is a Miss Daisy Woods. Let's see what she can tell us about the victim, Matthew.
And to get that score, you have to have alarms, you have to have fire doors on every unit. These are costly things, and so there's going to be tough decisions.
The buildings are the ones who know best what to do for their residents because each building is different. Each building has different demographics, and this way it's not something that they're doing.
How well she knew the victim? Miss Woods, we found a testimonial in which you spoke highly of Beckett's Bumblebees. You seem to be quite the fan of the brand. Yes, I heard that the founder's dead. It's such a pity. Beckett's Bumblebees was a godsend for my skin. Their products were almost as good for my complexion as the kombucha I drink. And the workshops are just wonderful. With Beckett's help, I was able to make my own skincare products, and with all entirely natural ingredients. And how well did you get to know Beckett during these workshops? You have to have complete confidence in his products. It's a tragedy, really. Where will I go to make my own skincare now?
And restricting them to apartment businesses. Under the proposal, anyone caught advertising without in a residential neighborhood.
So we'll be waiting 6 hours. I'll get the rest of the stars. I'll see you all then.
Resisting arrest. How many white?
Alright folks, we have returned. Let's get the results of the computer file from Kathy. You know, Matthew, I have to say your victim's computer was a bit of a disappointment. I usually love it when you send me people's devices. The process of examining somebody's digital life, unraveling their secrets, it's always been a passion of mine. But unfortunately, either your victim didn't have any secrets, or he was smart enough not to keep them on his computer. So you didn't find anything to help us. That's a first. Oh, I still found you a new lead. It turns out Beckett wasn't running his company alone. A certain Prisha Chandra ran the financial side of the business. I knew we could count on you, Kathy. Matthew, we better speak with Miss Chandra right away.
Nobody saw the tape between the crime scene and the mosque. We struck out with the cab drivers and the bus companies. We were looking for the wrong address. You, Latif, or you just gunned down a cop. Who do you go see? A lawyer.
Let's see what she has to say. Hello there, officers. You must be here because you're interested in revamping your skincare routine. Well, you've come to the right woman. Beckett's Bumblebees has products for all skin types. Would you say your skin is dry, combination, or oily? We're actually here to ask you some questions about your business partner. He's been murdered. Beckett's been murdered? Surely he can't be dead. How is that possible? Did Beckett ever show any signs of being in trouble, Miss Chandra? Did you have rivals in the industry, perhaps? None at all. Killing him would have been useless anyway. Beckett's Bumblebees is so well established, they'll continue with or without Beckett. Now if you'll excuse me, I have a lot of things to take care of. I usually spend some time with my Color Your Mind book and a glass of kombucha in the mornings, but now I've got a company to run all by myself. Well, that's 2 black marks already. Well, Matthew, we've dug deeper into our victim's professional life, but it hasn't been enough for us to solve this murder. You think it's worth taking another look around this cafe for clues? Then let's do it.
He saw the defendant exit the scene of the crime at the time of the murder. He drove the phone car back to Mr. Child's office. You want to continue your cross, Mr. Childs, will withdraw my objection. That won't be necessary. The defendant will be pleading self-defense.
Well, let's see here. I think I see a clue. There we go. Entrepreneur plaque. French fries, sweater, coffee machine, trash can, there we are. Now we have to find the plastic pieces. Aha, here we are. 5 seconds.
Doesn't have to be without the college experience. Our online class size averages fewer than 25 students with full-time faculty. GCU's Colangelo College of Business offers online MBA programs in real-world career areas, including accounting, leadership...
Matthew, that's a picture of our victim, but somebody scrawled murderer underneath it. This plaque was awarded to Beckett for being Entrepreneur of the Year, but clearly someone thought Beckett deserved jail time rather than an award. You're right. We better collect a sample of that black substance on the plaque if we're to shed some light on our accuser's identity, Matthew. And that tiny broken SD card is going to be a pain to put back together, but whatever it contains could be a vital lead. But as for looking through that trash can, you're on your own there. Gee, thanks a lot, Gloria.
Strangers can monitor your children's activity. NordVPN uses military-grade security protocols that protect you from...
Let's see.
What you do online. up to 6 devices for just $4 per month. Don't risk being hacked. Visit NordVPN.com/TV today. Glasses and contacts. You need them to see, but they put such a strain on your life.
There we are.
LASIK is now affordable for almost everyone.
According to the label, this SD card contains security footage from this very cafe. We know Beckett spent a lot of time here, so with any luck, the CCTV might have captured something useful on this SD card. Let's get it to the lab.
Free evaluation. 1-800-827-8060.
What do you get when you cross a real McCoy with a mastermind?
Monsters like you. Are you getting me attitude?
A poison blue with a men in black.
Think you know so much about being a cop? Why don't you do this?
12 hours. Maybe I'll speed this up a little later, but we'll see what happens. Now the entrepreneur plaque. Here we are. Putting that substance collected from Beckett's plaque under the microscope should help us discover who called him a murderer, Matthew.
I assure you, as you know, need to be there.
3.
So now Miller's asserting a justification.
His options open. That system will
Is there a reason to think that you keep the pure secrecy?
That's 5. Oh, I missed out on the 9. Bee smoker ash. So that substance collected from Beckett's plaque is ash from something called a bee smoker. More specifically, it's ash from burned pine needles and burlap. Weird. That combination rings a bell somehow. Oh, I know. I saw it in a book Carter was reading for biology class. Beekeepers burn pine needles and burlap to create smoke, which calms honeybees while they harvest the hive. We've only met one individual who works with bees, Matthew, but why would he have called Beckett a murderer? Let's ask Mr. Ashworth at once.
Eleanor Bumpers brought you. No. They ever single you out for persecution or harassment?
And let's see what Archibald Ashworth has to say about that. 9 years old, too. That's impressive for doing that at his age. But hey, more power to him. Mr. Ashworth, can you explain why you scrawled murderer on Beckett Blanton's plaque? Because that's what he was. He was killing the bees. I'm not sure I understand. Why would he kill the very creatures he needed for his work? Because he was a bumbling idiot who understood nothing about bees and their well-being. All he cared about was getting as much honey as he could. You see, during the colder months, bees need the honey they produce to live on, and that means you can't harvest as much. But Beckett went behind my back, Senior Trooper Matthew. He harvested all their honey and gave them high fructose corn syrup to live off instead. But corn syrup is as bad for bees as it is for you or me. My bees were dying because of him. No wonder they took their revenge. Their revenge? I see. Well, let's hope you didn't help them get it, Mr. Ashworth.
A week before I was arrested, my 17-year-old nephew was shot by the police. Officers, they said he brought the police jewelry. He was evading apprehension. Only they didn't find the jewelry. So that's what they think.
Dang, Matthew, that brush you found in the trash is covered in blood. We know that Beckett was beaten with a wooden implement before the murder. Could this be it? Rupert will be able to confirm our suspicions, Matthew. Let's send the brush to him. 12 hours and 6 hours. Okay, I'll see y'all then.
And then it was a long pain.
Okay, folks, we have returned, and let's get the results of the security footage from Alex. Hello, Matthew. Kathy's just popped out to take baby Sammy to get his shots, so I'm standing in for her. I would have taken him myself, but I'm kind of scared of needles. Huh, aren't you a little old for that, Alex? Anyway, did you find anything on that SD card Matthew sent you? Did I ever? The SD card contained footage of Beckett, and I think you're going to want to take a look, Matthew. Beckett, don't you dare turn your back on me. Get off my case, Mom. I only took a couple of thousand. What's the big deal? What's the big deal? That was the entirety of my savings. Look, Mom, just consider it an investment, okay? I'll pay you back someday. Someday? It's been 2 years, you little... Wow. Yeah, I think you get the gist of where that was going, Matthew. Matthew, when we spoke to Beckett's mother earlier, she failed to mention that she'd argued with her son just before his murder. The dispute was clearly about money, and it's pretty clear Beckett had stolen from her. There's only one way to get to the bottom of this. We need to speak to Beckett's mother. Hello again, Senior Trooper Matthew. Can I offer you some kombucha? I was just about to pour myself a glass. We'll pass, Mrs. Blanton. You conveniently forgot to mention your argument with your son when we spoke to you earlier. He owed you money? Oh, I should have known you'd find out about that. The truth is, I was ashamed of Beckett's behavior. Ever since he was a kid, he dreamed of starting his own business and making it big, and I encouraged it. But next thing I knew, my savings account had been empty. He didn't even ask to borrow the money, Senior Trooper Matthew. Beckett swore he'd pay it back as soon as the company started making money, but I never saw a penny of it. I tried so hard to forgive him, but no amount of time spent on my Color Your Mind books could quell my anger. And the bloody brush. Matthew, did you know that this brush you sent me is an integral part of beekeeping? Beekeepers use it to gently brush the bees off a honeycomb when they need to inspect it. That's fascinating, Rupert. But what about the blood on it? Well, I could confirm that the blood on this brush is indeed your victim's. So your hunch was right, Matthew. This is the wooden object that Beckett was beaten with. Indeed. And what's more, I found something on the handle of the brush, a small quantity of oil. But this was no ordinary oil, Matthew. It was the kind used to lubricate a bike chain. Your killer must ride a bike. So our killer rides a bike, do they? They're in for a bumpy ride with you on their case, Matthew. And good thinking, Mr. Ashworth mentioned using honey to condition his bicycle saddle when we spoke to him. I'll add it to his profile. Well, Archibald Ashworth is not the one. Matthew, we're still no closer to finding whoever pushed Beckett into that beehive. We encountered Daisy Woods, a happy customer of Beckett's bumblebees, and the victim's business partner, who appeared overwhelmed by the news of his death and her newfound responsibilities. Beckett had no shortage of enemies, though. Archibald Ashworth was furious because he was overworking the bees, while his mother resented him for stealing her money to found his business. Matthew, I've been looking for you everywhere. We've just had word of a break-in at one of our crime scenes. Oh boy. That is not good. And I'll see you guys for Chapter 3. Don't go anywhere, folks. And we're back, folks, to start Chapter 3 of Buzzkill. just were informed that there's been a break-in at one of the crime scenes. We've just had word of a break-in at the Beckett's Bumblebee's workshop. Somebody's tampering with one of our crime scenes. Matthew, we need to go stop them. Let's see. Daisy Woods. Arr! What the? Miss Woods, stop right there! Just what do you think you're doing? I'm trashing this place, that's what, and you can't stop me. Think again. We're gonna have a talk, Miss Woods. Will she be facing any charges? Miss Woods, when we spoke to you earlier, you were singing Beckett's praises. Yet here you are, trashing his workshop. I'd have done it before if I could. When I heard Beckett was dead, I knew I had to make sure that his company didn't live on. The company whose products you claim to swear by? I was too scared to tell you before in case you thought that I killed Beckett. But one day I was rushed to the hospital and diagnosed with mercury poisoning. I'd gotten so weak I couldn't even hold the pencil for my coloring book, let alone ride my bike. And I'm sure it was because of Beckett's products. You think Beckett's products poisoned you? Do you have proof? All the tests came back negative, but I know the mercury came from his products. I'm sure of it. Beckett's Bumblebees must be shut down for good. Let's hope you didn't decide the first step to shutting the company down was killing its founder. We're going to take another look around. You'd better pray you didn't damage any evidence. Alright. Torn booklet. Hard hat. Oh, the phone is a clue. That's a really old school phone. And look, even an oven running in the background. You'd think that would be a clue there. And I got some extra help. Matthew, that phone looks like it belongs back in the 80s. What is it with these kids getting nostalgia for things that existed before they were even born? You're right. This one seems to have an answering machine built in. Can you crack the code, Matthew? After those pieces of paper, putting them back together might just give us the breakthrough we need. they are. This booklet says romantic coupons for lovey-dovey's. These must be like those cheesy things where you promise to do stuff for your partner, like serving them breakfast in bed. And it was Beckett who gifted them to someone. If Beckett was in a relationship, this is the first we've heard of it, Matthew. You better recover the other name, quick. Favorite is number 5. Matthew, these romantic coupons were given by our victim to none other than Prisha Chandra. When we questioned her earlier, she said that their relationship was purely professional. But clearly, Prisha was lying. Let's ask her why. Well, let's see what Prisha has to say. Miss Chandra, why did you fail to mention that you and Beckett were a couple when we spoke to you earlier? Because we weren't. Beckett and I slept together one time, and that was the end of it. Or at least it should have been. Instead, he got it into his head that we should be a real couple. I told him that I didn't want to mix business with pleasure, but he wouldn't give up. He seemed to think that if he behaved like he was my boyfriend, he could win me over. It became unbearable. His latest thing was those stupid coupons. I refused to accept them, so Beckett snuck them into my bike bag. Beckett just didn't understand that I'm not the type to be tied down, Senior Trooper Matthew. I'm a free spirit. Well, let's just hope that your desire to be free of Beckett's affections didn't lead you to kill him, Miss Chandra. There's 6, 941, 72. Got an eye. Darn it, Matthew. All of the messages on the victim's answering machine have been deleted. Good point. Kathy might be able to recover the deleted messages. Let's get the answering machine to her at once. It's 9 hours? Yes, it is. And I'll see you guys when that is done, and I'll have all stars collected by then. See y'all then. Okay, folks, we have returned, and let's get the results of the victim's answering machine. Hello again, Matthew. I'm back from the doctor's. You'll have to excuse baby Sammy. He's a little grumpy after getting his shots. Poor thing. I remember taking Carson to get his shot, or Carter to get his shots all too well. He scowled at me all day after. But tell us, did you manage to recover the messages from the victim's answering machine? Luckily for you, messages are stored for up to 24 hours before being permanently deleted. I managed to recover 31 messages in total, all from one Theo Zane. He was begging the victim not to sue him. Beckett wanted to sue Theo? What on earth for? The messages didn't say, but Mr. Zane sure sounded desperate to smooth things over. Matthew, we better ask Theo what their dispute was about at once.
I'd rather not. Oh, it's you, Inspector. That's Sheriff. Thank you.
Senior Trooper Matthew, I'm afraid this isn't a good time. I'm just about to take my bike to the repair shop. That'll have to wait, Mr. Zane. Why did you fail to tell us that Beckett Blanton was about to sue you? How did you find out about that, Senior Trooper Matthew? Well, I guess there's no point hiding it from you anymore. Beckett wanted to sue me for negligence. We've built an amazing, supportive community here at Hustle and Guzzle, Senior Trooper Matthew. Our customers treat this place like their second home.
What's doing way over there?
But some of them forget that they're not at home. Beckett left his belongings unattended while he went to grab a coffee and some energy balls. Then he came to me saying his stuff had gone. I asked him if it was possible he just misplaced it, and he went mad. He threatened to throw my kombucha in my face and then said he was going to sue me because I spent more time coloring my Color Your Mind book than supervising the cafe. I was so scared I'd lose everything, Senior Trooper Matthew. I haven't been able to sleep in days. That's a motive. Well, Matthew, some of our suspects have definitely changed their tune about Beckett. Daisy Woods claims the victim's products made her so sick that she had to be hospitalized, while Theo Zane was desperate to stop the victim from launching legal action against him. There's no shortage of suspects with a motive to kill, but who ultimately did the deed, Matthew? Good thinking. If we're to catch this killer, we should look for more clues at the scene of the murder. Let's go.
Walker is a safer, more secure way to get you up and on your feet.
Okay, community planners now.
You don't walk with hunched over shoulders. It keeps me warm, Rick. It takes a lot of pressure off my back and my knees and my ankles. A lot of that pain, so it makes you want to get out.
The up walker is revolutionary. A walker has the patient in a hunched over position, whereas when you have the up walker, you're able to walk upright and get a normal gait because your balance is there.
The up walker gives you increased stability, so there's less risk of falling.
I had a fear for falling. She had a fear of falling. So with the up walker, we've eliminated that fear.
The up walker is lightweight, so you can easily maneuver up a step, through doors, and around tight spaces.
When I was diagnosed with Parkinson's, I felt like I was trapped in my own house. But now with the up walker, it gives me the freedom to do what I want to do.
The up walker easily
5 seconds.
adjusts to your height and features ergonomic handbrakes, sliding seats for quick and sustained movements, and sturdy 8-inch wheels that glide over a variety of terrains. Just call or visit tryupwalker.com and for a limited time save over $100 off the regular price.
Got me another
Your Up Walker is
100,000.
backed by a 30-day money-back guarantee and comes fully assembled. Call now and get free shipping, plus a free beverage holder, free
Already
backrest,
17th
and free
place on
carrying
there.
bag. So whatever your mobility issue, try the Up Walker today.
Matthew, is it just me, or are there way more bees buzzing around than there were earlier?
I feel free again. I feel alive.
And why did you pick that squashed honeycomb up? Oh, you're right. This honeycomb must have snapped off the hive, which got broken during Beckett's struggle with his killer. That means those fibers clearly must have gotten trapped in the honeycomb during the murder. And with any luck, they might have come from our killer. We better grab a sample. And if you think a clue might be lurking in that crate of beekeeping equipment, there's not a moment to lose. We need to look through it. Those bees don't look too happy about us rummaging around, though, Matthew. We better go back to the station and quickly.
Here's Arvid Hammer plus OxyClean 3-in-1. The only packs with baking soda, OxyClean stain fighters, and a boost of scent for the clean you need at a fraction of the cost.
Digestive Advantage Probiotics help you stay strong, even with digestive issues. And
All right.
around 10 minutes. On a camping
I think that might be a kombucha bottle.
Digestive Advantage Probiotics have a strong natural protein shell. So not only brings more millions of probiotics, many can struggle with stomach acid. Ours survive 100.
Matthew, I swear I can still hear buzzing in my ears. But what's that bottle you found among that beekeeping equipment? Oh, you're right. It's a bottle of kombucha. That fermented tea our killer drinks. With any luck, this might belong to them. Rupert will know for sure. Let's send the bottle to him.
I'm sorry. Just don't function very well when I'm awakened by sirens in the night. This dispatcher. Don't tell me they have arrested you too.
No, he doesn't function too well without a siren.
No. The sheriff wants to release you into my custody. And do you understand how you've been arrested?
You broke into the shop and stole a brooch.
My mother gave me that was very ill. Did you take it and
8 energy. Matthew, let's get those fibers you collected from that honeycomb to the lab, quick.
No.
15 hours. I'll see you guys when these are done.
It didn't make any sense.
Alright folks, we have returned. Let's get the results of the bottle of kombucha first. Yes, Your Majesty, I understand the task you have bestowed upon me. Rupert, for Queen and Country, I shall go forthwith. Rupert! Oh, Matthew, I didn't see you there. Rupert, we're up against the clock here. Don't tell me you've been playing with your VR headset instead of looking at that bottle Matthew sent you. Of course not. I'm nothing if not professional, Matthew. Which is why I can tell you that there were traces of bike chain oil on the kombucha bottle, the same type which I found on the bee brush used to attack your victim. That means there's no doubt about it, Matthew. This bottle of kombucha belongs to our killer. Precisely. But that's not all. You see, mixed in with the oil, I found something else. Traces of lens cleaner. Your killer must wear glasses. So our killer is sporting glasses, eh? They'll make a spectacle of themselves once they're in front of the judge, Matthew. Let's go ahead and get that sped up, and let's talk to Amir next. Or Amir, rather. Amir, what have you got for us on those fibers Matthew collected from the honeycomb? Did they belong to our killer? They most certainly did, Matthew. Although I gotta say, they took a little more analysis than usual. You see, the dye used to color the fibers wasn't your typical industrial strength clothes dye. It's the kind used to dye clothes at home. What's more, the pattern on the fibers didn't seem to follow any known motif. And then I realized, if you put the unusual pattern and use of home dye together, it can only mean one thing. Your killer has to be wearing tie-dye clothes. So our killer's wearing a tie-dye print. They'll be swapping it for an orange jumpsuit soon enough, Matthew. Matthew, this is it. You finally collected enough evidence to arrest Beckett Blanton's killer. Let's do this. Let's arrest the killer. Well, what do you know? It's the business partner. Krishna Chandra, you're under arrest for Beckett Blanton's murder. Why'd you do it? Because you wanted complete control of the business? Or was it just because Beckett was bothering you after your one-night stand? What are you on about, Senior Trooper Matthew? Beckett and I were a team. I wouldn't have killed him. Yet you did lure him to the roof, didn't you? Writing a note with colored pencil was original, I have to say. Note? What note? I only use colored pencils for my Color Your Mind book. Come on, drop the act. We found the brush you used to beat Beckett with. You left your bike oil all over it. Beat Beckett? I wouldn't beat anyone up. Give it up, Prisha. We've got everything. Your kombucha bottle, your lens cleaner. You've made too many mistakes to wriggle out of this. Fine, I did it. I killed him. But it was an accident, Senior Trooper Matthew. You have to believe me. I only sent that note to Beckett because I wanted to talk to him, but we argued and I started hitting him. but I hit him too hard. He stumbled and fell straight onto that beehive. The bees came swarming out and I panicked. I ran away and left him there. I didn't even know he was dead until you came to question me, Senior Trooper Matthew. Wait, I don't understand. What did you and Beckett argue about? Well, I might have lied to you when I said I'd only slept with Beckett once. We fooled around from time to time, but it was never anything serious, at least not for me. But one day I realized Beckett had replaced my contraceptive pill with a placebo. He was so hell-bent on forcing me into a relationship with him that he was trying to get me pregnant. I was horrified when I realized what he had done. I felt so violated. Beckett took away my right to choose what happened to me. What happened to my body, Senior Trooper Matthew. I never would have slept with him if I'd known what he was doing. Mr. Blanton's actions were despicable indeed, Miss Chandra, and I understand your anger, but I'm afraid we have no choice but to arrest you for killing him. Miss Chandra, you appear before this court charged with the manslaughter of Beckett Blanton. How do you plead? Not guilty, Your Honor. I might not have wanted to bring a life into this world, but I didn't mean to take Beckett's either. Yes, I see here that the victim hoped tricking you into an unplanned pregnancy will result in a relationship. That must have caused you serious emotional distress indeed. Taking this into account, as well as the unpremeditated nature of your actions, this court hereby sentences you to 5 years in prison with eligibility for parole in 2. I'm so sorry for what happened, Your Honor. I truly never wanted to kill him. What a tragic case, Matthew. I can't imagine how a person could be so desperate to be in a relationship that they trick someone into an unplanned pregnancy. Beckett took away Priscia's freedom to make decisions for herself, reducing her to little more than an object. This makes you all the more determined to make sure Carter grows up knowing what a healthy relationship looks like. Matthew, I'm sorry to interrupt, but there's an Archibald Ashworth here. He says he needs to speak to you urgently. Okay, so from what I supposedly heard, there's possibly another award that Criminal Case is updating with. But we'll see what happens. Let's take a look at the other ones. Daisy Woods, no tie-dye. Archibald Ashworth, cleared from the start. Theo Zane, just no glasses on. Carol Blanton, cleared after Clue 3. It was the business partner, Priscia Chandra. I'll see you guys for the next additional investigation. Is this just fantasy? 4-6. 2 more weeks will be in another district. See y'all then. And we're back. Let's start. Is this just fantasy? 4-6. Hey Matthew, have you seen the news? Apparently the earthquake uncovered an ancient city hidden right here in Grimsboro. How cool is that? Ah, I see you've heard about the excavation going on in the old town. It's all quite exciting. As he's a historian, my husband has been called in to consult. However, I'm afraid we have more pressing matters than a city that's been buried for centuries, Matthew. There's an Archibald Ashworth here. He says he needs to speak to you urgently. Before you rush off, Matthew, I was hoping you'd come to the co-working cafe with me. I understand some of the VR players go there, and I'd like to talk to them. I'm trying to figure out what's got Rupert so hooked. Well, what do you want to do first, Matthew? See what Mr. Ashworth wants, or go to the cafe with Amir? Let's look at the co-working space first. Oh, great. Ooh. VR player. There we go, 4 seconds. And no help either. It's okay though, third is the best I can do anyway, even on a computer like this. Excuse me, ma'am? Ma'am, can you hear me? It's Annie Schmidt. Uh-oh. Matthew, she's not responding. Wait, you say you know this woman? Oh, right. She was a suspect in Ronald Rooney's murder. Wasn't she like a super fan of his or something? She really doesn't look well, Matthew. We need to get her medical help, and quick. Martine will know what to do. And let's talk to Archibald Ashworth. Mr. Ashworth, I sure hope you're not... Mr. Ashworth, I sure do hope you're not here to report another murder. No, something worse. There's a lady harassing my bees. I'm not quite sure I understand. What is there to understand? There's a woman bothering my bees, and she says she's a police officer from the Grimsboro PD. She says she's a police officer? I think that's highly unlikely. My bees have suffered enough emotional distress for one day, Senior Trooper Matthew. You need to get over there and sort her out. And here, take this beekeeping outfit. I don't want my poor babies being blamed if one of you gets stung. Now go stop that woman messing with my hives. With my hives. Crow, Clover, Cat, Cage, Rainbow. Here you go. Now that there's no sign of that supposed police officer Mr. Ashworth said was bothering his bees, do you think he might have finally lost his mind? Oh, but you're right. This is a police-issue gun. What the heck is it doing up here? Matthew, let's have a look at the gun's serial number. We need to figure out who dropped it here.
Since then, she's been a real threat. We work together as a team.
Maybe not. You might have never do this.
She shot a 22-year-old officer. Point blank range. He had named Ron Nicholas Warren. She was 6 years old.
There's another sign. I believe that they're really good. I believe
047 62. Yep. And I got the 9 in time. So the serial number on the gun is 5804762. Those first two numbers correspond to the Grimsboro PD code, Matthew. This firearm definitely belongs to one of our own. Let me pull up the precinct records and check. Matthew, this gun belongs to Rita. Why on earth would Rita have been up here harassing Archibald Ashworth's bees? Let's ask her.
In the criminal justice system, sexually based offenses are considered especially.
Rita, we found your gun at the community beehive after Mr. Ashworth complained that an officer had been harassing his bees. What the heck were you doing there? Oh, thanks for bringing it back, Matthew. I went to the beehive because I wanted to break up with Marcus, that guy I met at the mall. What does breaking up with Marcus have to do with bees? Well, Marcus is nice and all, but things are moving too quickly. He keeps talking about sharing a sock drawer, and I'm just not ready for that level of commitment. So I had to end things. That's why I went to the beehive. Marcus always calls me honey, and I thought it'd make a good breakup gift. As for the gun, I took it to protect myself against the bees. It wasn't much use though. I pumped a few warning shots into the air, but they didn't back off, so I dropped it and ran. Rita, I couldn't help it over here. What were you going to do with the honey? Tape a word through note onto... Well, yes. Oh, Sherry, you're going about this all wrong. Matthew, how about we help poor Rita? Rita, give me your phone. All I need is a few hours, and I'll have ended things with Marcus for you in the nicest possible way. Well, okay, I guess. Here's my phone. I'll buy Matthew and Gloria a drink while we wait. And this is 6 hours. I'll see you guys when that is finished. See y'all then. Okay, folks, we have returned, and let's get the results of Rita's cell phone first from Martine. Ah, Rita, you're just in time. Did you manage to break things off with Marcus? Mais oui. You see, the trick to ending a relationship on good terms is making the guy think that there's no alternative but to break it off. So I told Marcus that he was a great guy, but that you'd realized you wanted to rejoin the army. He thinks you're being deployed to Timbuktu next week. You told him I was going back to the army and he bought it? Then, sir, trust me, it's the last you'll hear of him, as long as you stay far away from his workplace, that is. Thanks a lot, Martine. This has all been so stressful. I'm gonna go polish my gun to help me relax. See you later, Matthew.
The Cold Press program
Okay. And let's get the results from Annie Schmidt as well. Matthew, please do me a favor in the future and only send me dead bodies. Live ones talk more than I would appreciate. Does that mean Miss Schmidt is feeling better, Martine? Well, she's weak and malnourished, and her blood pressure is worryingly low. I'm pretty sure she hasn't eaten in days, and all thanks to that game she keeps going on about. But as I said, she's got no problem talking. Just don't push her too much, Matthew. Let's see what Annie Schmidt has to say now. Oh, Senior Trooper Matthew. Are you the one who brought me here? Can I have my VR headset back? Firstly, you're welcome. Secondly, how did you end up in such a state, Annie? Our coroner tells us you haven't eaten in days. There's no need to worry about me. I'm fine. I might have been skipping a few meals here and there, but it's not like I can't afford to lose the weight. In Dreamlight VR, I'm way skinnier and prettier. I'm even dating my idol, Ronald Rooney. Everything is just perfect. I can forget all the pesky day-to-day stuff I have to do. I even forgot to take my meds today, which I shouldn't have done, but I can just go fetch them from the cafe. You're not going anywhere in your current condition, Annie. Senior Trooper Matthew and I will go back to the cafe for your medication, and we'll grab something for you to eat while we're at it.
What feeling?
Candy Crush, play now.
Mr. Entertainer.
Right there. Quit it with the Mr. Entertainer stuff. That's not my last name, you dumb shit.
Mommy, why can't you be with you?
Alright.
You know, you with Mark Paul, right? And Hero has a girlfriend, and he's so happy and trapped.
What? No, I'm fine. What? No! Trapped.
Alright.
For what it's worth,
Okay.
I know it was a mistake to make you do the pageant, and I'm truly very sorry.
There's the medication box.
You know, your grandma was real bad about everything. What do you say we can do
You remind me so much of your mother when she was your age. Oh, she used to get so mad at me. And as she got older, it seems like we just fought all the time. To find
Luck?
It wasn't
No.
when you were born that we tried to make up, but seems like we still couldn't let go of the past.
Matthew, I can't believe Annie's so into this VR game that she stopped eating and taking her medication. What if Rupert gets like that? Gloria told me she caught him playing during work hours earlier. I like this VR thing less and less, Matthew, but you're right for now. We better make sure these pills are Annie's. Let's recover what was written on the box.
Culture from the South, honey. It's just good memories.
Of course I still love you. You're my grandma. Just marry me.
Oh, well, I can accept that. If you're still going to give me another chance, and I still will try to be the best grandma in the whole world.
You think I can start calling you grandma again?
Of course you can. Just not around me that
Finally. Only 3. This is it, Matthew. This is the medicine Annie Schmidt left here. We better get these pills back to her at once.
Sophia! Look at you, you're walking. I just can't believe it. Neither can I. Pretty amazing, eh, Pussycat? Mm-hmm. About me. As long as there's pain and suffering in the world, I'll be okay.
Thanks, Senior Trooper Matthew. I feel much better now I've taken my medication. Just promise us you won't let yourself get into that state again, okay? Perhaps you should just give the VR a break. I don't think there's any need to go to such drastic lengths. I'll just set up the game so that Juniper reminds me when to take my medication. See you around, Senior Trooper Matthew. Matthew, you'll never believe it. I told Rupert about that episode with Annie Schmidt and he just brushed it off. The game is making people forget to eat or take their medication. That's not something to be dismissed. You're overreacting, Amir. Just because one person took their obsession with the game to unreasonable lengths doesn't mean all VR players do. All people are doing is living out their fantasies for a few hours a day. Who could begrudge them that? Yeah, especially when real life is so hard. Honestly, Matthew, who could have imagined that breaking up with someone could be so difficult? Speaking of which, Marcus is here to see you. Oh God! Marcus is here? Matthew, cover for me while I escape to the fire exit. Rita, take a deep breath. Marcus is probably just here to return your stuff. Now go talk to him.
If his bottom half is as good as his top half, I'm in love.
Marcus, what are you doing here? Did you not get that message I sent you? I did, and that's why I'm here. I just came by to let you know that I respect your decision, even though I'm disappointed that it means the end of us. To be honest, I'd figured you were missing the army when you screamed at me to drop down and give you 20 after I overcooked the dinner that one time. Anyway, I just wanted to say goodbye in person. It was nice knowing you, Rita. Stay safe out there.
Hi, it's me, Stan.
Thank you, Marcus. I wish you all the best.
Stanley, what do you want? Dorothy, I know you still met him because
Well, Matthew, that wasn't quite as terrible as I expected. Perhaps I'm finally getting better at this whole relationship thing. We've all got our strengths and weaknesses, Rita. As for me, I'm starting to be concerned about this VR game. I heard Annie Schmidt's become totally addicted to it, and I worry that others might do the same. What's more, we know hardly anything about Dreamlight, the company behind it, or what they're doing with that satellite they're keeping hidden in the forest. We need to keep an eye on them, Matthew.
Then you can see the change.
I'm waiting for the change. Don't you find my hand at you?
Look, Stan, old Stan, new Stan, tastes great, less filling, Stan. The point is, I am not interested. Good luck in therapy.
Jim, now I'm hearing your own games. You might not even compete.
I mean, I appreciate what you did, but after all, I have won a few other events in my lifetime.
See, I tell you, I thought there was going to be another prize wheel or something
I do not want to jeopardize.
but I guess not.
I could end up crippled like my father. Want to down my years trapped in a place like this?
It's okay, though.
On the other hand, I have certain skills which are not.
It's okay, though.
I see myself owing a wealthy widow not too damaged by time.
You recognize our guests?
Of course I do. The old man had to better about your other partners who moved here. Here, I'll get you planter.
Okay.
What's this, Dorothy? You won't even know I'm fishing for info.
May 9th, that's a Wednesday this time.
My father misplaced his daily planner too. Was going around the way to the state fair.
I actually made a mistake that last time. It was actually on a Thursday, but in this case will be released on Tuesday. It was actually on another Thursday. $95. Another 5.
to the Atlantis, from the Keys to the Okefenokee.
Oh.
With beer at the top lounge.
Well, sure, why not? Let's see it.
Okay.
Okay.
Give it to me.
2 new ones.
This is like anything that I remember. Wherever this news.
Jerry, yes. They got better trophies.
3 new ones. Oh. And I get another sticker pack.
Want your ticket to see Avengers?
4 new ones.
Marvel Studios Avengers Infinity War. Now playing. Rated PG-13.
You've got the power to do things your way. You have
Let's
goals
see.
and you get them done. So now it's time to get the advantage with Hydroxycut. Increase energy, boost metabolism, burn calories, and lose weight. Because it's not about what anyone else thinks. Hydroxycut, America's #1 selling weight loss brand, with mix and match choices. So you can lose weight your way.
I'm Jenny. I have a confession to make. I may have been a little tough.
Okay. That'll do.
I've always thought it's so easy. The average way to stop addiction is sugary soda. Just slip in a bottle of it. A quick push, and
And I will see you guys on May 9th. We'll see y'all then.